Boyfriend does this at night and it makes me uncomfortable. I, F 21, have been in a relationship with B, M 25, for 2 months. I've stayed over multiple times, but last night around 2 a.m. I woke up to him thrusting his junk into my butt. He sleeps in his underwear, I sleep fully clothed. But this just made me uncomfortable. I'm asleep and I'm not something he can use for his enjoyment, if that makes sense. I moved my body away and he moved closer. I moved my body up and he moved closer. So I moved to the edge of the bed and he asked if I was okay in a condescending tone. I said, and went to sleep. I left while he was still sleeping in the morning and haven't really texted him today. There's also times when he just randomly grabs my face and makes me kiss him. I just feel like if I wanted to kiss him I would. I don't need him to grab my face and make me do it. I don't know how to bring this up to talk about. I also feel like he's going to brush it off. I'm looking for advice on how to talk to him about it and also if I'm being unreasonable or anyone has experienced something similar. Thanks in advance. 1. You're not being unreasonable. 2. You talk to him like this. Stop. I don't find that sexy. Don't do again. 3. If he gives you any guff about it or doesn't stop, you dump him for a boyfriend who isn't an immature creep. It's important that he respects your boundaries and has your consent before kissing or grinding. It's your body and you have every right to be comfortable with what's happening to it. You're not being unreasonable at all. Say, stop, instead of, I don't get why some guys think it is okay to do that. You can simply stroke the person and see whether she reacts. If I were you I would just tell him, I don't really like it when you do that. The fact that he makes you kiss him is pretty demeaning and I wouldn't want to be with someone like that. He seems controlling, like you're there for his convenience. But that's just what I'm getting from this post. While it is important that he respect your boundaries, it is equally important that you communicate them to him, which is something that is woefully missing from most of the top comments here. I absolutely support how you feel about yourself and what is okay with you, but if you don't tell him these things, there is no way that you can expect him to know. Admittedly, there would ideally be some reading of body language, and while I am not saying that this is definitely the case, but some people are legitimately bad at reading it, and need that firm statement of boundary. If he can't respect them, once set, bounce. If you can't consent it is classified as assault. A recent study of 22,000 UK women found 50% had woken to a partner raping them. Of course, because it's happening in a relationship, the fact that this is rape gets overlooked. Is he also half asleep when he does this? I ask as my wife has told me on a few occasions where I'd start getting frisky with her in the middle of the night. She enjoys it so it doesn't bother her, but when she talks to me about it the morning after, I literally have no recollection of doing anything which she finds funny. I do however recount coincidentally that I do have sex dreams involving her which seem pretty real, which happened to be followed with her telling me during breakfast that I was handsy the night before. Not condoning the behavior, but is he aware that he's doing it in the middle of the night? High school sweetheart, M39, wants a divorce after 21 years of being together. This is my first post and I, F36, need some advice. My husband of 17 years asked for a separation about 4 months ago. To say it was a shock is an understatement. I have been with this man for more than half of my life. I'm completely and utterly devastated. We have 3 kids together, 17-year-old, 12-year-old and a 2-year-old. When he asked for the separation, I accepted it and figured he needed time to distress. He has been stressed out over him working for a sales department and then unfortunately being let go. He also started getting panic attacks. This coupled with a teenager, tween, and newborn have all been really affecting him. The anxiety attacks and unemployment have all happened within the last couple of years. Here is where I need advice. After our separation, he asked to still live with me and our kids till he got his own place. I agreed, since he has no income or job. Fast forward a couple of months and my woman's intuition is going off. He started coming home after midnight on weekends. At first I figured he was hanging out with his buddies and I don't know, getting better? Meanwhile I'm at home with the kids or at work. We only had 1 car so going out for me was not an option. Besides I like being home. I started feeling off about how he was acting. I had had complete trust in him and in our marriage, until we started hanging out with my cousin and his wife. My husband and I started hanging out with them about 5 years ago. I always had this weird feeling when I would see my husband's interaction with her and her with him. Things like how they would have their own private conversations in the same room as my cousin and I. For example, if I was having a conversation with my cousin in the living room, My husband and her would be having one in the kitchen. I did bring it up and told him I didn't like it. He would brush it off as me being crazy and that it was nothing. I figured he was right and trusted him. About a week ago, I found out he has been having an emotional affair with this woman. It has been going on for 3 months. The same amount of time where he asked for a separation from me. And the same amount of time my cousin, her husband, had to go away for a few years. He's currently in prison. I found out he has delivered food to her job. I saw that she paid for a hotel for 2 nights for him to take a shower, seeing as how I had kicked him out of my place. He keeps saying that this is what I wanted because I asked him to leave. I mean, I couldn't take knowing he was out with someone else and only coming home to shower and sleep. Yes, I did kick him out. He's basically homeless. He says he's been sleeping in our car. He also keeps denying that anything physical is going on. Him and her are also very angry and upset with me. She's told me that I'm overreacting and that all they have is a friendship. She says I've offended her by assuming she's sleeping with my husband. She says I need to stop with these false accusations. Even though we are currently separated, I have asked him to stop talking to her, but he says he's not. He says that me and him are over. He says he wants nothing to do with me and that he is not going to stop talking to her. I need advice on how to move forward. I can't get over the betrayal from both of them. Even if they haven't been physical, I feel like he cheated on me. I'm so lost. What do I do? My advice: contact a lawyer and continue with the divorce as quickly as possible. Consult a lawyer and start divorce proceedings. They're both taking you for a fool. There's nothing quite like the righteous anger of cheaters. It's all bullshit. Their emotional affair has likely been going on long before he asked for a separation. You knew there was something odd about their relationship and he gaslit you into thinking you were crazy for years. Don't believe for a moment the hotel rooms are for showers only. They almost certainly have had sex. Post this on Surviving Infidelity too. You're likely to get more tailored advice by those who have been in the same boat. Even if they haven't been physical, I feel like he cheated on me. I'm 99% sure a man wouldn't blow up his stable life and comforts for an emotional affair. Cheaters are shameless liars, you can't take what they say at face value. He says that me and him are over. He says he wants nothing to do with me and that he is not going to stop talking to her. You can't control whether he talks to her or not, because he's not interested in saving his marriage with you. You can only divorce and cut him out your life as much as possible. Tell your cousin in prison. Lawyer up, don't let him back in house. Sorry. Edit. If you feel overwhelmed, talk to a therapist. How is he ever going to get an apartment without a job? His anxiety attacks are likely coming from leading a double life. He's made his bed, so let him lie in it. Get the car back, contact an attorney and find out what this is going to cost and start planning for the future. Sorry you have to go through this. It will be tough, but you will land on your feet. Kick him out. Kick him out and tell your family. Contact lawyers. And get finances in order. Partner can't hide his excitement around attractive women. How do I react? My husband and I have been together for 11 years. We're 33 and 30 years old. He's pretty insecure and used to neg me for years until I called him out on it. He has tried to stop, even though he has ADHD and still tends to blurt out stuff without thinking. He's also prone to other behaviors like very obviously staring at other women. But I can let it slide unless he's being very rude. However, he also has this dumb habit of following a woman he thinks is attractive. Not in a very obvious way, but like he will go down a particular aisle for no reason other than that an attractive woman is there, etc. I'll be like, "What are you looking for?" But he will draw a blank. It's probably stupid, but because of the years of negging me, comparing me to other women, my self-esteem is pretty much on the floor. I tend to come home at the end of the day feeling absolutely drained. Do I say something to him? I feel like it's a me issue and most of the time he doesn't even remember doing this stuff. Also, how do I repair my self-esteem from all the negging? Following attractive women around in public. I find that super creepy regardless of his relationship status. Do you really think it is a you issue? Normal husbands don't follow around attractive women like puppies. They don't neg their wives, don't obviously stare at women next their wife. Not husbands, even single men don't obviously stare at a woman and follow her around because he is gonna be called creep and will never get a girl that way. It's really creepy. And you married this creep? Was it because of the negging and because he lowered your self-esteem? Why did you marry someone that made you feel less for years? What does telling him to stop achieve? It doesn't sound like it matters to him. You either keep accepting it or leave. Your husband can have ADHD and engage in these behaviors etc., and you can AL significant other choose to not accept these behaviors and say enough is enough. And what does neg mean? Does he negate your words? Criticize your appearance and you all the time? I know plenty of grown men with severe ADHD and none are like this. Your husband is a creepy asshole. I have ADHD, and I didn't do anything this bad. I did romanticize and stare a lot when I was younger, but that's as far as it went. Your husband needs to get his fucking act together. Yay, no ADHD or not, that's incredibly disrespectful. Yuck, your husband sounds gross. Why do you let this slide? And BTW, this is not his ad. This is him straight up being a creep. Wife, 36 female, has been using her parents' money for years to pad our budget. I recently quit my job as I prepare to go full-time with my own business and was looking at my finances to modify our budget for the time being. My wife and I have been married for 12 years and we have 3 kids. She's been at home with them for about 9 years now. She's had a household and personal spending budget that's been basically the same for this amount of time and we've never had a problem sticking to it. When I look at our finances every few months and yearly, she is below at our budget almost always and manages to get everything we need. As I was looking at our itemized budget and her recent spending habits, the last 6 months or so, just so I could see a trend, I started noticing that entire purchases or shopping trips were missing from her credit card statements. For example, a couple months ago she and her sister took the kids to Disney. I realized that none of that cost was on our accounts and there was no big transfer of money over if it was the case that her sister paid for everything and we paid her back afterwards. We shop at Trader Joe's all the time, but the only grocery store we go to according to our credit card statements is Walmart and Costco. She upgrades some household decor and kids' clothing as well as her own and my clothes every so often, but as far as decor and clothing I barely see $150 spent over the past year. I confront her thinking she has a second credit card I don't know about. She confesses that, actually, she does have a second credit card but it's one she's had for 20 years and her parents pay the balance every month. They've had her and all her siblings on a fun money allowance. I asked my brother-in-law, married to wife's sister, and he apparently has known about this and is okay with spending their money as long as it's on trivial stuff. I am blown away. Don't even know how to feel. I'm humiliated, emasculated, angry. I also feel like a fool because I thought this life we were living where I provided a nice lifestyle where we could treat ourselves and get the kids nice stuff has been a lie. My income pays the bills, sure. But I guess I'm an idiot for also thinking it covered all this other stuff my wife does with the kids. One plus side is we have managed to save money over the years more than what I had ever thought we could, and that's because my wife uses her allowance on frivolous stuff and never our money, unless it was something we decided to do for the kids together. I don't even know what to do here. What a nice situation to be in. You and your family get all expenses paid fun stuff. I think you should focus on how you are feeling and why. If the roles were reversed, do you think your wife would feel humiliated? How do you think your ideas of masculinity contribute to these feelings? Or are you mostly humiliated because you didn't notice for over a decade? It's pretty common for people to have some fun separate from their partner, to be honest. I've heard women say to keep some money on the DL always, for safety reasons, in case they need to escape the relationship. Not saying this applies here, of course, but it's a common and reasonable situation. In short, try to think of the bright side. Your feelings are valid, but I hope you give yourself time to reflect and cool down. Since she grew up with this funding, it probably didn't even occur to her to detail where it came from. Or maybe she thought she had told you. It sounds like she has been very responsibly been balancing money between your 2 accounts. Does she normally handle the finances? If I were to guess, it sounds like your pride might be a little hurt, but do you feel offended by this? It sounds like a wonderful situation to be in financially and you can pursue your business dreams, which is fantastic. If it feels really hard to overcome, there is nothing wrong with bringing in a professional for some help to overcome this. She had all this extra spending money for years and you had no idea? Are most people this clueless about their finances? How did you not know that your lifestyle doesn't match up to your income? Honestly, look at it as a blessing. You have a better savings account. Just address the lack of communication and move on. It's not hurting you at all. Additionally, this isn't emasculating you. It's saving you money. Stop looking for a problem and ask yourself how involved you really are with the daily upkeep of the house if you didn't even realize y'all couldn't afford the stuff you have now with this extra money. What a problem to have. Not to sound nasty, but to me it sound like you were living in blissful ignorance because you wanted to be. It should have been obvious to you, without even looking at the budget, that you were spending more money than you make from what you have described here. Unless you actually have no idea what things cost. I mean this in the nicest way possible, but maybe let your wife deal with the finances for your business start. She sounds like she can set y'all up for success. Just be thankful that you have wonderful and generous in-laws. They have helped and never wanted a thing in return. Maybe you and your wife do something really special for them as a thank you. Wait, have you not balanced the income with the money going out of your account in 12 years? And you are mad at her? For what? For not draining your account when there are grandparents happy to see their grandchildren happy? Looks like a great situation to be in. Upset at having more money than expected. Oh, to have your problem. You're giving her the same household budget for 9 years. Give me a question to how she was able to go to Disneyland. Mate, you've been putting your head in the sand far too long. You're lucky it's only her parents' credit card. She could have been drug dealing or selling her body to get that extra money for fun stuff. I actually think you've only got yourself to blame for being so foolish and naive about the household budget. As you say, you now have a lovely nest egg from your income. Talk to your wife and sort your toxic masculinity out. You realize this is her way of getting her inheritance before her parents pass? They then get the pleasure of seeing you all enjoy yourselves.